back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing some fall treat making, and I'm super excited because these are some of my favorite treats to eat just for snacks or something, and I do have a few new ones. So I don't know if you guys have seen me with glasses on in any previous videos. I have a little bit of a headache right now, so these kind of help a little bit. And I also took some frankincense oil and put it on my temples along with some peppermint. So that should be working anytime now because I put it on about 10 minutes ago. I can already feel it going away a little bit, so that's really nice. So the snacks that I have for you guys today are the banana bites, the yogurt bites, the paleo pumpkin apple balls, and the apple chips. So super excited. So we are going to be starting with the banana bites and the apple chips because those are going to take the longest to do. So I have like my apples for the apple chips and my apples for the pumpkin apple balls, and I do have my bananas right here. So I cut them up a little bit. I did like some preparing. I prepped everything kind of. I brought everything out that I'm going to need. And we are going to just kind of get started because this is going to take a while. So to start off, I cut up my bananas. I did 2 bananas and I just cut them like thinly sliced kind of. I mean, not too thin. They're probably about 1/2 inch thick. And now I'm just going to put them in the freezer so that they just kind of freeze a little bit. You don't want them completely frozen. So we'll do that. Then we are going to move on to the apple chips. So I'm going to pull up my recipe on Pinterest here. I have made apple chips before and they actually turned out really well. So I'm hoping that this is the same recipe. It kind of looks like it. So let's see. All right, so it tells me to preheat my oven to 225. All right, so then we need our 2 to 3 thinly sliced apples, and like they're actually pretty thin here. You can kind of see that. That's what I've got, and some of them are a little more thin than others. I did 3 apples. So we need some sugar and cinnamon. All right, I know that I said that these are healthy, which they are, because I mean, I'm using apples. The sugar though, if you wanted something a little healthier, I know there are alternative sugars out there. Just kind of like with the flour, I'm using coconut flour or almond flour instead. So I'm pretty sure that there's other sugars out there that you can use, maybe a little bit more healthy. So let's see, I'm going to grab a pan. Okay, so the recipe does say that you can use maple syrup instead. So obviously there are those like organic pure maple syrups that you can use instead of sugar. But I don't have one of those right now, so we're just gonna use the sugar. Lay the apples out, and I think I'm going to need a second pan. Alright, so I don't have enough apples to cover everything, but I have 3 rows on each of these. So hopefully that this piece sitting towards the back, that these will all cook evenly. So next, I'm just supposed to sprinkle the cinnamon sugar mixture on top of all of these. And then it's going to go in the oven for an hour and a half. And then I'm going to flip them and it goes in the oven for another hour. So, and we're ready. So I'm just going to sprinkle over these really quick. Alright guys, so now that those are in the oven, we are going to start on our pumpkin apple balls. So it says that the first thing that we do is combine the pumpkin, the nut seed is what it says. So I've got my creamy peanut butter here. Let's see, honey, vanilla extract, and coconut oil. So I'm going to combine all of those. The coconut oil needs to be melted, so I'm going to do that first. And I'm going to combine all of those in a large bowl. So now that I've got that combined, it says that in a separate bowl, we need to combine the almond flour, coconut flour, cinnamon, nutmeg, ground ginger, salt. So I only have coconut flour. So I'm just gonna use that for the whole thing and just kind of hope that it still turns out good. I like coconut, so we'll see. And then the cinnamon we have here, nutmeg and ground ginger and salt I have to grab. Okay, so it turns out that I don't have ground ginger either, but it says that you can substitute cinnamon and nutmeg. So I'm just gonna put a little bit extra of both of these and just hope that it also turns out good. I'm really gonna have to see if these taste good because I don't have all the ingredients. Alright, now I'm going to mix these together, and then with these apples, I actually have to saute them in a half a tablespoon of coconut oil. So until they turn like a brownish color. So we'll be back when that's done. Instead of them caramelizing, they kind of just started to brown. So it tells me to mix them in with this. So that's what I'm gonna do, and then put them in the fridge for like 20 minutes. So while we do that, I'm actually going to take the bananas out of the freezer because they look frozen enough. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna stick these and this back in the freezer just for a little bit, and we can start on the next treat. The next treat that I have for you is frozen pumpkin pie yogurt snack bites. So in the picture, these people used like a pumpkin mold. I don't have one of those. I just have this one that's like for chocolates. So they're just gonna come out looking like little chocolates. So let's see what the first thing is that we have to do. All right, so I need a 1/3 cup of the pumpkin puree, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and some vanilla yogurt. And it says honey or maple syrup, and I just happened to find this in my fridge. So I wish I would have found that sooner. All right, so I'll get a bowl and we'll start. So now that that's all mixed up, I am putting the yogurt and filling each of these halfway, and then I am putting those and filling them the rest of the way. And then I freeze them for about 2 hours or until frozen. So one thing I wanted to say about that recipe we just did with the yogurt bites, if you wanted there to be more, you could definitely like double or triple the recipe, because they just really sit in your freezer until you eat them. So if you tried out this recipe and you really like it, then I'd suggest doubling or tripling the recipe, because really, or you know, you can probably make them a lot smaller too. So if you double the recipe and you use a smaller mold, I think it'll be perfect. So what we're going to do next is take this somewhat harder peanut butter. I mean, it's still really squishy, but it's like Play-Doh consistency now. So I'm just going to cut a piece here like I did with the yogurt and pumpkin, and not too big. And then I'll see if you guys can kind of see this now. I'm just going to take like my first one and just put a little bit of peanut butter right in the middle. So I'm going to do that with half of these. Just remember that you need the other half to go on top of the first half. It's time to finish our pumpkin apple protein type ball here. Okay, that's more than good enough. But anyway, so what we're going to be doing is I'm going to grab a spoon because I have nails on and that's just going to make things a little difficult. But basically, you just roll them into the desired size of ball that you want, and then you can store them in the fridge for up to a week or in the freezer for as long as you want. So mine are gonna go in the freezer because I have a lot of snacks that I eat, and I have a variety of snacks that I eat. So I'm probably not going to get to these all within a week. So this is the pumpkin apple balls, and I think that they turned out really well. I'll have to taste one, but there's quite a few of them. The one thing that I'd say is that the way that they feel, the texture-wise, there might be a little bit too much of the flour in there, so I wouldn't put in as much as I did, but anyway, I think that these are really good. And it makes a decent amount, so I'm going to put the lid on these and put them in the freezer to eat later. So the last couple of things that I have to do are finish yogurt bites once they're done, and then finish off the banana things. So I'm going to let those freeze for a little while, and then I will melt some chocolate, put those over them, and freeze them again.